You having fun? Can you still hear me? Yeah. There's a me. Honestly, we love a smell of gunpowder in the morning. I know sometimes it's more like pirates, and that's okay. That's the crossover between the Jacobite. Do you know why pirates are called pirates? Because they are! Right. And how much do pirates pay for body parts? A buccaneer. No, I know. All right, what's a pirate's favorite letter? You think so, but it can't get past the C. Okay, how are we all doing? Are we ready? Ready? Okay, so the final time in this one, we're going to ask you to help us count down and not shoot any of the band members down the bottom. Okay, hands up, mouths open, counting down again from 3, 2, fire! Let's hear a huge round of applause. That is the firing. Thank you very much. There it is. We're going to do a mass fire that's facing in both directions, please. Mass volley fire, so back to back. This is going to be epic. Epic. We're not stalling for time at all there. So, where are you going from? What are you trying to do? Germany? Second. Willkommen? Edinburgh. Yeah, multilingual. Where are you guys from? Scotland. Out of Fries. I'm a look out there in English. Look at Fries. Thank you for riding your horse over here. You support the Jacobite. Okay, where are you from? Where are you from? Brazil. It's a long way to roll a boat. So thank you very much. And did you just come here to see us? That's incredible. So we are History Matters Limited. If you go on to the Book of Faces and like and share some of the photographs you're going to see from here today, or our beautiful Napoleonic lady will wander around and hand business cards if anybody wants one. Yeah, there are these modern things called QR codes on the back where you can scan a QR code and pass it. So we're History Matters Limited, LTD. Okay, who is up for it?
I'll take it, dude.
Okay, look natural, boys, look natural. Camera loves you, work it, yes. Like the way you work it. Photo up. Work it, yes. Best side forward. Okay, anybody else want the photo up here? Anybody? Turn the face this way. Best side. Okay, turn the face this way. Let all of these good people get nice photos this way. Okay, remember, like and share, just over there, the guy waving. There he is. Okay, don't shoot anyone yet. Okay, these guys down here, do the point. Yep. Okay. Who wants to see a mass volley fire? I'll stand here because you make it sound louder than it is. Because you guys are awesome. Who down here wants to see a mass volley fire? Are you sure? Well done.
Just protect your own ears.
Who wants to see a volley fire down here? Do you guys want to see a mass volley fire? Yeah!
Fire.
And down the bottom, do you guys want to see a mass volley fire? Can't hear you. You can wave. Hello. Do you want to see a mass volley fire? Okay, this side we're going to do the competition thing again. Right, if you want to see a mass volley fire, give me a cheer on 3. 1, 2, 3! You need caffeine. Luckily, there's caffeine new behind you. There are other caffeine outlets. This is as well. This side, that was rubbish, wasn't it? This is going to be easy. Hardly worth the wall. Okay. Who wants to see a mass volley fire this side? Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's not bad. Okay, now both of you together are going to be louder than the both of this one up here. So all together down here, if you want to see these guys pass volley fire, give me a loudest cheer possible on 3. 1, 2, 3! Ooh, this end, that was very loud. That was, some of their shakos were shaking. There's a shako, that's French. Okay, so, this side, do you want to see a mass volley fire? 1, 2, 3! This side, that was rubbish again. There's something about that side. I think they're downhill. Ready? On 3, if you want to see these guys mass qualify out, how much you can. 1, 2, 3! Let's see how much longer that was. Okay, do you want another go, or do you want to go together against the bottom end, those splitters? Alright, all together against the bottom end. On 3, give us a cheer if you want the mass qualifier. 1, 2, 3! Bottom end, 1, 2, 3! All together, Edinburgh, give me a cheer. 1, 2, 3! Help us count down. Make ready. Remember to cover your ears, keep your mouths open. Counting down again from 3, 2, 1.
Bravo.
We have Mr.
Vay fışlar. Nedeni miydi o?
Okay, if it needs it, there are toilets dotted around all the cafes. Just around the place. How was that? You enjoy that? Brilliant. Come and see us at 2:30 and cheer your favourite team to see who's going to win the 3 shots of the race. Thank you very much. You've been brilliant. We'll see you afterwards. We are History Matters Limited. Thank you.
Dede patlamadı dede. Bir daha dede.
Unfortunately, the most unreliable guns in the world.
Hadi
It will
dede.
take the tiniest little slip of the flint to be the wrong way and it will not spark. No spark, no flash, no flash, no bang. Have a kick. Unfortunately, it happens to all men at certain ages. Performance issues do happen.
Just a reminder, everybody, we're just after 2:30, so 2:30. Just after 2:30, we will be back up here. Okay, let's forward.
Horseback men was some pipes to do that as a fucking...
Adam, you happy? Robbie, you happy?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Fantastic. Well done.
Ça today.
And baby, look at these shoes. What the fuck?
Cheers to the captain and lads! Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! Three cheers to the captain of the last. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip!
established in 1909 as part of the Officer Training Corps raised by the school in response to the division of involving the Second War. NATO can support the school events such as the annual Founders Day and Remembrance Parade. And also performs annually at the Upper Hall and supports local charities and organisations. Years competitions. They regularly take part in the inter-school and RSPBA competitions. That's the George Heriot. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we welcome to the Mercat Cross the whole cavalcade of riders from all over Scotland, led by the Edinburgh captain, Adam Gian. And with him is the Edinburgh Lass for 2025, Kirsten Lees. In support is the 2024 Edinburgh captain and Lass, Robbie Houston and Kirsty Simons. Behind the principals are 4 troopers from Scotland's Cavalry Regiment, the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards, now based at Lookers, wearing their full ceremonial uniforms. Also accompanying them on horseback is the Right Honourable Lord Provost and Lord Lieutenant of the City of Edinburgh, Robert Aldridge. Lord Provost Consort for the City of Edinburgh, Dr Colin Cunningham, also this year's Edinburgh Exile, Norma Cuthbertson and Major Stuart Vine from the Scottish and Northern Irish Yeomanry. And it's also our pleasure to announce the participation on horseback of Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal. And we're also joined by representatives of the 29 riding towns of Scotland on horseback. We have Berwick, Pennycook, Dale Hunter and Lass, West Linton's Whitman, the Lanark Cornet, the bigger Cornet, Peebles Cornet, the Dumfries Cornets, Lockerby's Cornet, the Coldstreamer and representatives from Kelso and Annan. Now in just a moment the captain, Adam Guillaume, will dismount and carry the City of Edinburgh banner up the Mercat Cross, and he'll be followed by the Edinburgh Lass, Kirsten Lees, and you'll see that the incorporated trades banners have formed a semicircle around the front of the Mercat Cross. Atop the Mercat Cross will be the Lord Provost, the convener of trades, and the Dean of Guild. And as well as those, there will be other members of the Lord Provost's party who will also ascend the cross.
Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for Robert Aldridge, the Right Honourable Lord Provost of the City of Edinburgh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Your Royal Highness, citizens of Edinburgh, Lord Dean of Guild, Deacon Convener of Trades, visiting principal riders, visitors from the many riding towns of Scotland and those from further afield. It's with enormous pleasure that today I welcome the captain of the trained bands and his followers to the Mercat Cross in the heart of the Old Town on the day of the 2025 Riding of the Marches. The first record of an inspection of Edinburgh's common land was in 1579. Since then, the city has expanded and much of the common land has been lost. In these ancient times, when the horse was the only mode of transport, the captain would mount up and lead my predecessor and burgesses of the time out beyond the Flodden Wall to inspect the common land. In these times, mounted messengers were also accustomed to bringing tidings to the city of war and of peace. In 1946, City Treasurer Murray, acting as captain at the head of the Riding of the Marches, ceremonially brought news of the end of the Second World War. We remember with sensitivity the ultimate sacrifice that so many people made during this war and many before it. So could I now ask that we observe 1 minute's silence for the fallen of all wars. Thank you.
My Lord Provost, citizens of Edinburgh, visiting principals and guests. On the 7th of September 2012, in the presence of the Edinburgh Lass, I inspected the flood and wall boundary of our ancient town from Netherbow to Westport and found it to be intact. Today, Sunday the 14th of September 2025, with these riders as witnesses, I rode the marches of our capital city, the southernmost point of the drum, where the city of Edinburgh Borough was buzzed at the former home, our Mercat Cross. It is with great honour that I now report to you that the citizens of Edinburgh are in good heart and the Edinburgh marches are clear. My Lord Provost, I now have pleasure in returning to your safekeeping the City of Edinburgh banner in the condition I received it, unsullied and unstained.
One week ago today, the Deputy Lord Provost charged you to inspect the boundaries of our capital city and return this banner to me, unsullied and unstained. I congratulate you and your lass on the excellent manner in which you have carried out your duties. 3 cheers for the Edinburgh captain. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Thank you very much. And now might I invite Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal, to make some remarks on this, the conclusion of our Edinburgh 900 celebrations. Your Royal Highness.
Lord Provost, citizens of Edinburgh, Captain of Riding and Tartan Lass, may I say it's a pleasure to join you today on, as always, an important day, but maybe particularly as we help end the celebrations for the 900th anniversary of the City of Edinburgh. The celebrations were started last July by His Majesty the King and the Queen, and you have taken several opportunities to celebrate, highlight just what Edinburgh has achieved in those 900 years. But it is a long time since 1124, when King David I established Edinburgh as a royal borough. And I think we should take a moment to also remember how lucky we are that things have improved so much since then. But this is a journey that spans centuries, a very difficult thing to reflect, even over the year that you have taken. But a city shaped by resilience, intellect, creativity, and the community as it's reflected here today. And this, the riding of the marches, is something that really connects this city to its history, but also this is an event which is part of its present and its future. So a huge thank you to the City of Edinburgh Council, all their community partners, the cultural institutions and volunteers who have made all of these celebrations possible throughout this year. And there have been over 50 funded civic and community events around the city. There have been exhibitions, art and culture, guided walks in all sorts of places, including the Portobello Toddler's Hut, but I'm not sure who that was for. Museums and archives, objects from 9 centuries, a tricky decision. Open days inviting the public into hidden architectural treasures across the city. There have been celebrations of shorter periods of time, Eric Liddell's centenary service, which I had the pleasure of attending, the 200th anniversary of James Braidwood's fire service, also of course very much an Edinburgh institution, and the 900th anniversary of St Giles Cathedral. A very big scene with over 1,000 school pupils in Yasha Hall. And this year's Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo also highlighted Edinburgh's 900 years. And Edinburgh sensibly has an inaugural tartan parade. And as you come up here, that is very much in evidence. But there is a real future here, and we should never underestimate the value of anniversaries in reminding us what has been so good about the past and the people who made it. But it is an opportunity to link that with the present and give you the confidence to plan for the future. So thank you all here for helping to celebrate Edinburgh in its 900 years, not just the place, but the people and the future. Thank you, Lord Provost.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Could I now invite Piper Stuart Curry to play the March to St Giles, specially composed for the Edinburgh 900 celebrations. That's a slight technical issue. We will move straight to dispersal now. So thank you very much indeed for your attendance, everybody, and a safe journey home. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate the riding of the marches.
And let's have one final round of applause for the official principal party and honoured guests. And the horse cavalcade will now exit the event arena by heading down the Royal Mile towards Holyrood Palace.
I guess they must have been something else.
Stay back! Oh. That's enough! That's